Hey guys, welcome back to Flirting with Meaning. This isn't clickbait. I have the Santa hat. I just wanted to show you that it comes in this cool box and I wanted to unbox it. Don't worry, I would never clickbait unless I was trying to rage bait. I do like to rage bait occasionally. Okay, the packaging was cute, but it's not really giving I don't know, I feel like it looks more elf-like than Santa-like, but it's whatever. Oh, I just realized the little bear didn't make it past the curtain, but you know what? It's okay. The Lufthansa bear can chill here for this. I wanted to wear the Santa hat because I wanted to talk about the holidays. I wanted to talk about seasonal depression because that keeps coming up in conversation lately, and I figured why not? Why not talk about it? So we're gonna talk about it. So seasonal depression, also known as the heavy winter slump. So I experience seasonal depression, but I also experience the seasonal depression when the winter becomes a spring. But I keep having conversations about seasonal depression, so I think a lot of people experience seasonal depression, and I almost wonder if it's all for different reasons or if everybody's experiencing it for the same reason. But it makes everything feel really dull, and it's really hard to get into the holiday spirit, especially this time of year when the sun goes down so early and the air is so cold and your brain is just running on E. Every winter I find myself thinking, why does everything feel harder? Or I feel like I'm not really myself in the winter. I don't know why. Seasonal depression, it kind of creeps into your mind quietly. It's kind of subtle and it shows up as a lack of motivation, kind of like your internal voice asking why you care less about the things you normally care more about, or you're living life behind a fogged window. It's a kind of a clear day, but there have been episodes where it's very foggy outside. But I want to talk about the emotional experience of this season in a deeper way, and not like listing clinical symptoms, but the way it actually is to live through it and just talking about it in general. Because it's not so much just about sadness, it's also the heaviness and the dullness, but there's also this disconnection from everybody around you, or I feel a loss of momentum. You feel like your personality entered some sort of hibernation. I think the best way to describe it is this: winter feels like somebody dimmed the lights inside of your mind, and it's almost like the colors around you look less saturated, or your creativity feels quieter, and joy in general just feels further away, and motivation is like constantly buffering. It's really hard to feel motivated around this time of year. I feel like a lot of people deal with seasonal depression, so I almost wonder if it's kind of like a natural thing that you're just responding to regarding changes in your environment and your biology. But I also know it also has to do with nostalgia and just not being able to like feel the holiday spirit, or feeling off around this time. I also think seasonal depression creates a very specific kind of loneliness, and it's not even the isolation of having nobody around you, but it's more so the internal loneliness of feeling disconnected from yourself. And it's the loneliness that hits you when you're around people, which is interesting because a lot of the people around you are probably feeling a similar way. But you can be in a room with family or even coworkers and still feel like your emotions are muted almost, and it feels like you're physically present, but you're mentally so distant from them, and it almost feels like you're not fully in your own life. You're watching it from a few feet away as if it's like a dream-like state. When I have seasonal depression, I get these really vivid dreams, but they're dreams of real life. So I feel like I'm living my life in my dream, and then I wake up and it feels so weird because I thought I was living my actual life in my dream because all the people are still there, all the situations are the same. It's really weird, actually. I wonder if anybody else gets that too. But anyway, that kind of loneliness, it's kind of confusing because there's no obvious cause for it. You just kind of feel less plugged in or less engaged and just not really yourself. And I think winter has a way of creating emotional distance as well because people stay home more because it's so cold outside. I mean, unless you live in a place that's not really cold during the winter. But it just seems like everybody's more tired too because it's dark and there's fewer reasons to leave the house, and that isolation compounds the heaviness you already feel. So now you're tired from the season, you're lonely from the silence, and guilty for not being your best self, and that emotional math, it starts to add up. But one thing I really wanted to also mention is the shame people feel around seasonal depression. And it sounds ridiculous, but I think a lot of people actually don't like to mention like the way that they struggle during the winter. They think they should push through, or they think it's like not actually happening, but they still can't really shake the feeling. I think winter just challenges everybody in different ways, and even people who do not experience full seasonal depression, they'll still feel some level of winter fatigue or winter blues, and our culture just doesn't really give people the ways to express that without people kind of judging or giving them a side eye. If you say like I feel drained lately, people will just give you advice that you've probably already tried and know doesn't work, but they're still going to give you unsolicited advice, which is so we need to talk about that too one day. People giving unsolicited advice as if you didn't try the most obvious thing that they mention. If you also say something like, "Oh, I feel unmotivated," people assume it's a you problem. Or if you say, "I can't get out of bed early," people will just be like, "Oh, well, go to sleep early," like something stupid like that. And I think this season kind of tricks your mind in a way that the seasonal depression creates this illusion that life is kind of stuck, and it tricks your brain into thinking everything's kind of stagnant. You can't really feel the momentum that you possibly felt throughout the beginning of the year. And you might even ask yourself, like, why do I feel this way for no reason? Why does everything feel pointless? Why do I feel so far from myself? But this is why seasonal depression feels existential. It makes you question your purpose almost, and it makes you question your routines and possibly even your identity. But not because anything's actually wrong, it's more so just your emotional bandwidth is struggling a little bit. It's lower. And when your energy's low, everything can feel a lot heavier around that time. Another thing that shows up in winter is emotional unpredictability, and you might feel fine one day and strangely low the next, or you might feel irritated over the small things or empty, and that's part of the seasonal shift too. Your mind's responding to darkness and cold and fatigue. Your emotional system is working harder with fewer resources. Part of the flow of life and seasonal depression. The good thing is that, like everything, it will pass. I think without giving any unsolicited advice, something that could help is lowering expectations. Like let winter be winter. You're not going to function like your summer self, and that's perfectly fine. Just rest without guilt. Winter is nature's rest season. We're probably one of the only species that tries to stay in talking's crazy. We are one of the few species that tries to stay in summer mode during the winter. Let yourself rest. Animals in the winter, they fly south, they hibernate. Why are we still pretending like we are not also a species? And the good news is winter has a beginning and it has an ending. So does the seasonal depression. What goes up must come down. It will pass. So winter is a season of deep roots. Things happen beneath the surface and you can't always see it. And like I always say, growth, it's not always outward. Sometimes it's internal and it could be invisible and quiet, but it's still happening. And you might not feel like you're improving in life, but your mind is just adapting. Your spirit is resting. Your body is conserving energy and you're preparing for the next season. Winter was meant to rest so that you can gain the energy and momentum for the spring. That's kind of the natural cycle of, I almost want to say biology, but I don't really know biology, but in my head it makes sense because really, I feel like humans, we just push ourselves when we shouldn't always, because why are so many people experiencing seasonal depression? It makes you kind of raise an eyebrow, like maybe it's not natural to be trying to do as much as we do all the year in the winter time. Winter is kind of like more of a transitional period, and I think seasonal depression also kind of kicks in when it's like around the holidays when you're visiting family. A lot of people get stressed when they interact with their relatives, so there is a lot of stress around the holidays as well. But for me, it's more so like I can't get in the spirit. Like, how do you get in the holiday spirit? Part of it too is like when we were kids, it was everywhere. It's like celebrating the movies you watch in class, the decorations are everywhere. There's still decorations, but it's like when you're a kid, it's like in your face, and the movies and the snacks and all of it. So I think a lot of it also has to do with nostalgia, and it's like you can never go back. You can never go back in time and experience that again. And there's kind of a dark existential feeling within that as well. But I think in the winter, we're just not as different from other species. I think we push ourselves way too hard as humans and we need to take a break. But like I said before, it will pass, and one day you'll notice that you have a little more energy. Winter will loosen its grip. It always does, but during the season it's rough. I do like the holidays. I think it's a really good time. But then after the holidays, like January, February, March, the cold season, yeah, I don't even want to think about that. Also, it's really windy outside today. I hope the wind is not being picked up by my microphone. I might have to change my filming location. I might have to change my filming location soon because I think my cover is starting to get blown. The truckers are starting to side-eye me. It might just be my giant ring light in the car. They might just be wondering why I have a ring light in the car and why I'm sitting alone filming in my car with a microphone and a ring light. But also, I do just want to add, I don't know if anybody will watch this part because it's towards the end, but I don't live in my car. I really appreciate the support from people who think I do. But I will say, when I was in the market for a car and I went to purchase a car, I kept in mind the fact that life can be unpredictable and there might come a day when you have to live in your car. So I tried to get a spacious car because I'm not claustrophobic, but I get overstimulated in small spaces. But I wouldn't say I'm claustrophobic because I can handle the small space. It's just having to move around in it a lot and get everything situated that stresses me out. So I wanted a lot of space, and I don't know, I when I watch people who film in their car, I never thought that they lived in their car. I just assumed they filmed in their car, but a lot of people do seem to think that I live in my car. I'm open to van life. I'm open to that kind of thing. That kind of seems overstimulating, but I'm open to it. It seems cool. Do you guys know anyone who's done van life? Have y'all done van life? But how do you buy the van? The van's expensive, isn't it? I definitely have to get to warmer weather if I did that. But yeah, so I guess I'll wrap it up because I don't really know what else I want to say about seasonal depression. Let me know if you guys have experienced seasonal depression. How do you get through it? Maybe this was kind of a cheesy episode to talk about because it's kind of emotional, but I did want to bring light to it because, it is the holidays. I love this hat. Yeah, definitely leave a comment. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, everybody. I've been trying so hard to get back to comments, but there's so many, but I love them so much. You guys are so funny and amazing. I definitely appreciate all your support. It's growing so fast. In my one episode, I said, let's make this podcast blow up. Y'all took that. You said heard. You said say less. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And let me know what you want to hear about next. I hope you guys have a good rest of the week, and I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.